This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
It is 10:08 at WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast, and you are on Careology this week with Miles McGrath. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning, Greg. How are you doing?
We're hanging in there. How are you?
Oh, it's been a fabulous start to the week, and I've got a wonderful guest here. Ben Gabriel is going to talk about fitness and training today. But before I introduce Ben, I want to just share a couple things that are happening with CAREBAG. On Sunday, August 6th at the Mid-Florida Event Center, we have from 1 to 7. Boys and girls can get a fresh look and get their haircuts. There's going to be backpacks filled with some hygiene goodies for them to make a fresh start for their school year. If that's something you're interested in, please visit our website, carebagfl.org. You can register for that. Last year we did the event. It was extremely well attended and we got some great feedback. And so to do the awareness, it really is a good fit for us. So just a reminder, that is going to be Sunday, August 6th at the Mid-Florida Event Center. And for those that don't know what CAREBAG is and what Careology is, I'll just briefly talk about that. CAREBAG is an organization that brings awareness to our friends. We call them Friends Without Walls, those that are really living in a homeless situation, that we've discovered that all should have the right to proper hygiene. And so it was a brainchild of Roxy or Roseanne Brown to develop this organization in honor of her daughter. We have mobile shower units. We have a mobile pantry. We have products that aren't available on the normal food cards and stuff like diapers and sanitary items and shampoos and things like that, that we give away to our folks that we serve to bring awareness and to bring dignity along the Treasure Coast. So that is our mission at CAREBAG. And this show, Careology, came out of that to bring that awareness. We want to thank our sponsors that make this possible. So in the name of bringing awareness to the community of health, I reached out to my network and wanted to talk about something that I think everybody would agree. Staying healthy, part of that is fitness, part of that is exercise and moving around. So I brought an expert in today, Ben Gabriel, who has a fitness coaching business, to talk to us about that and some of the things that, why that's important. Now, Ben hails from Massachusetts, from Grafton, Mass. He's moved to the area 3 years ago. He's got a wonderful young family, a son, Xander, who's 2.5 years old, and a child on the way. And his wife works as a behavior analyst that helps kids with developmental disabilities, specifically autism. So she travels around the state. But one of his passions is seeing his clients take off and from a fitness standpoint. So Ben, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Miles. This is a dream to be on the radio. So I appreciate the invite.
When we talk about fitness, we'll start from the base level and specifically helping your clients. How would you define, in your mind, what is fitness?
I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, okay? But the way I like to approach it is I want to improve people's quality of life outside the gym, right? The ability to say yes to anything and not be worried about whether or not you can physically do it, whether it's playing with your grandkids, whether it's going to play a pickup soccer game, going for a hike, going for a bicycle ride, even going for a walk. The ability to just say yes without even having to worry whether or not you can physically do it.
I think we all know people in our lives, or maybe we're one of those people where we can't say yes. It is a kind of a feeling. It's not a good feeling when you have to say no because of some physical thing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's becoming more and more prevalent in our society. People are, gaining weight. They're heavier than ever. they're not able to do the things that make living our lives great. And so I want to be able to show people that it's not it's simple, not easy, and give them a progressive map to getting to the point where they can say yes to everything.
I think you said the magic word, simple, but not easy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You, I think, nailed it right there. You know, we all know
Yeah, it's work. I mean, no other way of getting around it.
You know, this is everybody's looking for the magic pill, right? Or the belt that you can put on that vibrates. That's like doing, they claim it's like doing 20,000 sit-ups, right? That's unfortunately, that's not how it works. Like if there was a pill that was safe to take, then yeah, let's do it. I'd be all for it. But there's not. Unfortunately, it's through consistency. It's through making small changes to whether it's your exercise routine, your diet, that are going to add up over a long period of time. And to be honest, I don't even like the word diet, because diet, when people think diet, they think short term, and nutrition is the rest of your life, right? So, and hopefully exercise too is the rest of your life.
that you talk about the importance of that, of being able to do what you want to do. One of the head scratchers for me is, why don't people take it seriously when they know all the reasons, all the positive reasons for being in shape are? Why do you think, you know, someone who has clients, somebody who is really making a difference for your clients, why is it so hard for people to commit to a behavior change like that?
Same reason why people stay in jobs that they don't like. Change is difficult, and I'll be the first one to say I hate change, right? It requires effort. It requires potentially looking yourself in the mirror and saying, you know, I'm not doing what I need to do, which is difficult. And to be honest, a lot of people, they don't realize it, but working out, and whether it's trying to lose weight or just get in shape, there's most likely some sort of mental hurdle that you're trying to overcome. Everybody's different, but usually there's something mental that's kind of holding you back. And so that is a big thing to go up against. And it's hard. It's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm not doing what I need to do to be where I want to be, whether it's working out, job, whatever.
Now, getting into this business, you've got to demonstrate that you're following the things that you tell your clients to do. Was there a time before you got into fitness where you had to kind of find those reasons why you wanted to do it, or you just always were in fitness?
You know, I've always been active. Growing up, played multiple sports all throughout the year. And to be honest, I hated working out. Love playing the games. You know, I'd play 5 games in a weekend, but practice, forget it. Doing workouts,
You're a
forget it.
gamer, huh?
Yeah. But
Okay.
looking back at it, I wish I wasn't working out. I think that would have helped me a lot more in the games than just playing games, right? You got to practice, you got to improve your fitness, get stronger. That would improve your play on the field. You know, so I've always been active. That being said, since my son was born 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't say that like I put on a ton of weight, but I got to a point where I was like, man, like I'm a little heavier. If I'm going to be honest with myself, I'm a little heavier than I'd like to be. And so I was a couple months ago, and maybe it has to do with my, you know, my daughter's coming in September. I don't know, but I was like, I really got to get my things together. And so I really dialed it in. And so since then, you know, I'm down 15 pounds, and I'm in a place where I'm like happy with where I'm at. So it's not, you're not perfect all the time. There's going to be ups and downs, and you're going to struggle. It's going to be hard. You're going to want to quit. You're going to get off track for a while, but as long as you develop a consistent routine, you'll always be able to come back to something.
So your son and your daughter kind of gave you that extra motivation to take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially now, you know, when you're in your late teens, 20s, you don't care about anything else but, I don't know, trying to impress people with how you look, which no one really cares, right? But as I've gotten older, you start a family, and really my goals revolve around staying healthy as long as I can, and not letting my son, someday outlift me or something, and be able to keep up with him. And I don't want to let him beat me at something until I have to.
Right.
But yeah, and then I want to be able to play. Hopefully someday he's lucky enough to have kids, or my daughter's going to have kids, and I get to keep up with my grandkids. So that's the goal.
How would you define that mindset of somebody who goes from, hey, this is really not important, to, oh, I want to take care of myself? What's the mindset that you need to really make it a good habit of exercise?
Yeah, I think it's taking it slow and steady. Try to just get a little bit better every day. And what happens with a lot of people is they'll start looking for reasons of why they can't do something, when what they need to do is look at reasons why they can. And then when you start doing that, little by little, you're working out 1 day a week, great. Next week, or a couple weeks later, you do 2 days a week, and you just build on it little by little. I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make. Whether it's the new school year, January 1st, all right, I'm going to change my health. 7 days a week at the gym, I'm going to spend 2 hours. I'm not going to eat any foods that are, unhealthy. They last a month and they burn out. And so you got to find something that's challenging but sustainable, and that you can build on over the long term.
So how did you get into this business?
So I hated working out. Senior in high school, got a new soccer coach, and he started making us do these crazy workouts. And then in gym class, different, he's not the gym teacher, it's a different gym teacher, but we're doing these crazy workouts. And then sports end, and you're like, oh, what do I do with myself? And so I started just working out, and I started just to love, at first I did it to, right, why does everybody mostly work out? They want to look better. That's the first reason I did it. But then what I'm big on is tracking our progress. So not just weight loss or body fat percentage, but how much we lift, how fast do you run, how many pull-ups can you do? And so when I started doing that, I started to see this just growth that I wanted. And it also, more importantly, gave me confidence. So, I was kind of a scared little kid in high school, wasn't my best time. But when I started lifting and working out, and then you pick up a weight and you're like, wow, you get all this confidence. And so I saw that and was like, I need to give this to more people. I think, we have a big issue in our society with just self-confidence. People don't feel good about themselves. And exercise can do that. I think I've talked a lot about the weight loss, but there's benefits beyond weight loss, just with your confidence and your self-esteem, that are probably way more important than the physical.
I think you're touching on something that is key here. I do believe there's muscles we build in the gym, but there's a confidence muscle that some people think, well, I'm confident, I don't need to keep working on it. I think confidence is a muscle that constantly needs to be worked on to exceed certain levels, so that you feel you put yourself in the best position to perform. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, with weightlifting, so I compete in Olympic weightlifting, which is a snatch and clean and jerk. It's not about, excuse me, when you're not always trying to lift the heaviest weight when you're training. It's about repetition and making lifts. And every time you make a lift, you gain confidence. And the same thing can be said every time you do a workout, you're going to gain confidence. And more importantly, that's going to carry out into the real world, right? That's the end goal. The goal isn't to be the best at exercising, or, it's just to get out into the real world and be able to use that, whether it's physically, mentally, and in terms of confidence, but it's going to carry over into your family life, your work life, and really whatever you want to do.
Gabriel, Ben, let's
see, I told you.
I know, you're right.
I told you it happens. It's okay.
His last name and first name you could replace, but Ben, let's peel back the onion a little bit and think about confidence. Define what confidence is for you.
For me, what it means is, so we have this inner dialogue in our head, right? It's going on constantly throughout the day. And you're going to have those voices that say, you can't, nope, don't do it, whatever it may be. And confidence is being able to hear that voice and then just push it to the side and keep going. You're going to fail. It's going to happen. But the ability to listen to your voice and say, no, I'm going to do it anyways. That's what confidence is to me.
Does that have anything, where does visualization fit into that for you?
So, yeah, I mean, I always have people, this is part of the, it's not, when you come to me for a workout, it's not just like, all right, here's your workout, go. We talk a lot about mindset, and part of mindset is visualization. You can visualize a workout, right? And how exactly it's going to go. We know it's not going to always feel great, right? It's going to be hard, but we can visualize exactly what process we're going to go through so that it makes it a little bit easier. If we are constantly telling ourselves, this workout's going to be hard, this is awful, then it's going to make it worse, versus picturing how it's going to go and how you're going to attack it when you get to those difficult parts of the workout.
You're really talking about something that transcends just exercise. Exercise is a great metaphor, but that really transcends so many things in life. We're approaching something that's important. We get nervous. We hear those little voices, like you say, maybe dissuade us from doing the thing that's important. And that confidence is either there or it's not there. And we either say yes or we say no. Like, I could have asked you to be on this interview and you could have said, wow, that's out of my comfort zone. But you chose to.
This is
to come
totally out of my comfort zone. But that's what makes, I think, on a bigger picture, that's what makes life worth living. If you don't do things like, whether it's get on and talk about what you do or put some fear in you, then you're missing a huge part, because after you're like, yeah, I did it, right? Whether it's a workout or coming on the radio or whatever it may be, you do that workout. I can't tell you how many times people come in, I wasn't going to come today, but I did. And then by the end of it, they're like, yeah, I'm glad I came. And they're walking out with their, shoulders a little taller, head high, and they feel good about themselves.
So it's almost like they were about to not come, but they're always happy they did.
Yeah.
At the end, even though they went through a little pain during the workout.
Yeah. I don't think I remember one time where I've heard someone say, yeah, I wasn't going to come today, I wish I did. It's usually they're glad that they stepped into the door.
Got it. Share a story, if you can think of, I'm going to give you a little time to think it over here, of a client that you've been working with that's really made that turnaround, and what it was like for them, and helping coaching them through it. Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, I could go on for a whole hour, but I've been working with this one lady. She's coming up on a year of working with me, down 60 pounds. And she's a completely different person. She just went for her physical, for the year. And her doctor jokingly was like, who's this? As she walked in, because she's, half the size. And the cool thing is, she's not even at her end goal yet, right? In terms of what her weight loss goal is. But she came into the gym, timid, scared of pushing, whether it was a weight or a pace on the bike or the rower. And now, she's deadlifting crazy amounts of weight. She pushes hard. She does burpees. Just a completely different person. And then
now, what has she done food-wise to go along with the workouts?
So obviously that's a big part, and that's something that I'm talking about with my clients on a daily basis. But everybody's different. What works for me is going to be different than you, Miles. It's going to be different than you, Greg. It's all, you got to find out what works for you and your lifestyle. Someone who's a nurse versus a cop versus a teacher. It's all going to be a little bit different, but ultimately the big picture is that we want to control how much we're eating. And that's going to get us to, if our goal is to lose weight, then we'll lose weight.
You know, you mentioned, I think, an important word, tracking. And I've met people that take a picture of everything they eat before they eat it. You're talking about tracking your workouts, obviously coming out of the sales world, tracking how many calls you make and all those things. But just, I think that builds awareness.
Yeah. So I track everything I eat now. And I know it sounds like, oh, you're that crazy workout dude, you track all your food. But ultimately, the way I look at it is, if we're trying to lose weight, we need to eat in a caloric deficit. If we don't know how much we're eating, then how can we know if we're in a deficit? I don't remember the specific statistic, but I think it's that people overestimate or underestimate how much they eat by 25%. And we're talking for most people, a few hundred calories can be the difference on a consistent basis between gaining and losing weight. So you got to know how much you're putting into your body if your goal is to lose weight.
Have you ever run into clients that you work with that they hit a plateau and they keep trying everything and then they finally have that breakthrough?
Absolutely. People think it's like a straight line down to their goal weight, if we're talking weight loss, but it's ups and downs. You're going to gain weight, you're going to lose weight. And there's so many reasons why you step on the scale and you weigh heavier or you weigh less, right? It's not just fat loss, which is what most people want. There's water. I mean, there's so much that goes into that. Maybe you had more salt the day before, whatever it may be. Maybe you just ate, but there's so many reasons why your weight can fluctuate. And that's why we want to look more on a week-to-week basis than a day-to-day basis.
Do you recommend, not everybody can have their own coach or has the time, or at least they think they can, going back to what you say, would you recommend they have a workout buddy? Or how does somebody who's going from, I've tried these things before, to I want to start getting in better shape? What are some of the tips you would give them?
I mean, I put out a lot of free information. You can find it on my social media. How do they find you if they want to? So on Instagram, Gabriel Strength Training, and then you can search that same Gabriel Strength Training on Facebook. I'm on there. And there's a lot of trainers that do this as well. They put out good information. But starting there, and what people don't realize is, as simple as going for a walk can be the start. It doesn't need to be going to the gym. That might not be where you're at. But I would encourage, get people that involved. The more layers you have of people, whether it's a coach, a friend, a neighbor, the easier it's going to be for you to maintain your workout routine when it gets tough. Because it's going to get tough. And there's going to be a day where you don't want to do it. You go away on vacation, right? That's a big one that kind of halts people. They go away and they come back, and then it's like, next thing you know, it's been 3 weeks, they haven't worked out. So finding ways to hold yourself accountable. I do offer a small group class, and those ladies, they text each other outside of the gym. Hey, I might not be going today. Oh, I'm going. And then next thing you know, they're both there, all three of them there, because they're communicating outside the gym. And that's really what I'm trying to build, is a community of people that want to get better. So you're not just working out, you're meeting friends, you're going out to lunch with them, you're hanging out with them outside the gym, and you have more than just the workout. I know it sounds maybe funny, but to come to the gym. And the more layers you can build, the more successful you're going to be.
When somebody's working out, we talk about, one of your books, you talk about atomic habits. Is it true that one habit has to replace another habit, or how do you break those bad habits? If you're watching 2 hours of TV a day, how do you turn that into 45 minutes of exercise and an hour and a half of TV? How do you make that change?
when we talked about tracking, you said awareness, and that's part of it. You need to be aware of everything you do. I think, especially with the phones, I mean, I find myself doing this, right? You're not doing anything, all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's been 20 minutes and you've just been scrolling on your phone and you didn't even think about it. But if you can become more aware, that will be the start. And in terms of, I don't even like to really, like for food, for example, I really focus on adding. If you start adding in fruits, veggies, lean meats, all of a sudden the other stuff's going to kind of go to the back burner.
Gotcha. So awareness both of how you're spending your time, what's going in your body. Is there also an awareness of your own current mindset? How would you become aware of that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same reason every morning and night you go brush your teeth, right? You got to do it. I mean, there is a point where it's like, you got to just go do it. And, hopefully I try to make it fun and not always, we're not always trying to just push ourselves until we hit a wall, we're on the ground lying. It's, we want to have a progressive workout. Some days it's a little easier. That's okay. Some days it's a little harder. Great. But everything we do in the gym should have a reason, even if it's just, I want to have fun today.
So having a reason or motivation for doing the exercise.
Yeah, I try to explain the why behind everything. When I'm working with my clients, I want them to be able to, if I disappeared, to continue doing what they know how to do because I've taught them. I'm not holding anything back. I'm telling them why. Hey, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're doing this. And so they have the knowledge to be able to do it on their own if they want it. Now, most continue and they keep working with me, but people move. Maybe I disappear, but you can do it on your own. That's the end goal.
So the why of the different things they're performing when they're working with you, but what would you say your why? Why are you helping these clients? What's your reason for doing it?
I mean, I think it all goes back to, what happened to me. I started gaining confidence. I was this quiet, shy kid, and in a way I still kind of am, but now I'm an adult. But it gave me so much confidence to be able to just be myself and be happy with myself, right? But I love seeing people, the light bulb go off when they've figured it out or they establish that routine, and I know they're going to be there every time. And it's not always, you can think of another client that I work with is a young kid, and his workouts, they don't look like anything that teach in school or teach someone how to train someone, but it works for him, and it's helped him establish a workout routine where he's more active than he was before he started working with me. And so it's not always about the weight loss. It could be just about establishing a workout routine, building muscle. Maybe you want to run the 5K. Maybe you want to compete in a weightlifting competition. There's, many things we can do in the gym that don't all revolve around just losing weight, that will still make you healthier, feel better about yourself, and be able to do things outside the gym as well.
Greg, do we need to take a little break here? Or
Yeah, if you'd like, we can do that. It's interesting you talk about a little of everything, if you will, with the combination of good foods, good workout, and working up as you work out.
Yeah.
We had a funny instance. This goes back long before you were born, but probably long before both of you were, in the 70s. And the entire sports department at KCST in San Diego went to the Chargers, and we worked out with the San Diego Chargers in the off-season program, the three of us. And it was funny because Johnny Rodgers, former Heisman Trophy winner, was my coach. Dan Fouts was Phil Stone's coach. And Mike Smith had Doug Wilkerson, who was this wonderful guy, and big lineman. We all did pretty good. And then one by one, I think Phil dropped out first, and then Mike. I finished the program, but I felt so much better. And it's amazing what exercise can do, and actually good coaching.
Yeah, I mean, I work with my youngest client's 15, my oldest client's 70, everywhere in between, and I modify for them, right? So for the most part, they're all doing the same exercises. Now, my client that's 70, he's squatting to a box, or, if you imagine a chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my younger clients are squatting with a barbell, but I pick out exercises that are appropriate for them, their body type, their limitations, and where they're at, right? So even someone who's 25, you could have two 25-year-olds walk in the room, and one's been exercising all their life, one hasn't, and you're going to start them at different spots, right? So we got to find, and we got to work up from there.
Wow. Yeah, phenomenal. All right, we'll get back. You're listening to Careology.
St. Lucie Jewelry and Coins. I want to tell you all thank you for voting us #1 again. Best jewelry and coin dealer, best gold and silver buyer, and best jewelry store in Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce, and Vero Beach. Year after year, you voted us #1. Have you been wondering what your valuables are worth? Bring them in. We'll tell you, and we'll pay you top dollar. Why sell to us? Because we buy your jewelry as jewelry, not scrap. And we resell everything on our international auction platform and in our local stores. The demand has never been higher for fine jewelry, signed jewelry pieces, coins, coin collections, paper money, Rolex and all luxury watches, and even designer purses. Free confidential appraisals and house calls available. We've moved across the parking lot, but still on US 1 and Walton Road in Publix Plaza. Google us and then come see us last.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
You're listening to Careology with Miles McGrath and Ben Gabriel right here on WPSL.
Craig, thank you so much. Careology, where we care about our community. We help give information to them to help them make good decisions about their health and hygiene. I've got Ben Gabriel here, who's a fitness coach and trainer. Ben, we talk about some of the whys. People want to get in shape. They want to feel better. What are some things that are common misconceptions, things that are kind of some don'ts that you don't want to do when it comes to fitness, that you've seen people make mistakes that we can just advise our listeners?
Trying to do things too quickly. That's it. I mean, whether it's lose weight, lift heavier, run faster, just thinking that it's going to happen overnight, right? So on the weight loss, I don't know who came up with this, but the 1,200 calorie diet, it's just too restrictive. You're like, most grown adults are going to need to eat more than that. So something like that, what I recommend for most of my clients is the goal should be, you want to lose between 1 pound to 2 pounds per week, right? So if you want to lose 20 pounds, you're looking at about 10 to 20 weeks in that range. And so we start to set expectations. That's if you're perfect, which is hard. We start to set appropriate expectations on how long things should take. Okay. If someone comes in today and says, I want to deadlift 400 pounds. We got to make sure, and they've never lifted weights before, I got to set the expectation that, hey, you're looking at like a couple of years potentially. And when you do that, now they start to understand that they got to put in a lot of work. And it's not just going to be the 6-minute abs or the 6 weeks and I'm done. It's, a process. And when you start to enjoy the process, the results are going to come.
So I think you talk about enjoying the process. I just finished a book called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's that shift in mindset where you actually go from the goal being what drives you to the actual activity. Doing the activity is driving you. You're actually enjoying the activity. Yes, you want to get to a certain goal, but that was a kind of an awakening for me. Is like, it's not just about the goal, it's finding a way to enjoy the little repetitions along the way.
Yeah. And I think that what most people don't realize is weight loss, for example, because that's an easy one. Most people have a goal revolved around that, is that it's so much like when you hit your goal, yes, you're excited, but it's not always necessarily what you think it is, right? And so oftentimes, if you're so focused on the end result, it becomes very hard to do the day-to-day activities that you need to do to get there. Because you're like, well, why am I not there yet? Why am I not there yet? And you start to get discouraged, or you question what you're doing is even working. But if you just focus on day to day, did I get my workout in? Did I follow my nutrition plan? Did I sleep enough? Did I drink enough water? Check, 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 check. Okay, great. You start doing that day after day, and the next thing you know, you're at your goal, and it went by like that.
So you're building those little victories that keep you going along the way.
And that's why I like tracking other things than just weight loss. So how much weight you lift, how fast you run a mile, how many pull-ups you can do, because that gives you other things to improve along the way, which a lot of those goals happen a little bit quicker maybe than weight loss goals. And when you start improving performance, you build more muscle, which helps burn more calories. You start improving your body composition, which ultimately is what most people care about. They think they care about the number on the scale, but what they really care about is what they look like. And so maybe they weigh 175 pounds and they wanted to weigh 160, but now you can see their muscles, their tone, maybe their abs are starting to show. And then they're like, yeah, I don't really care about weighing 160 pounds because they look the way they want in the mirror, or their clothes fit better, whatever it may be. And that's through body composition.
I really gained an appreciation for exercise when I worked at a health club, and I started talking to some of the bodybuilders there. And I thought the workout, I talked to them, I said, what's the hardest part? And this was a health club called the Bull Run Athletic Club in Manassas, Virginia. The owner was Ken Ryder, and I think he holds the Virginia state record in combined powerlifting there to this day. Amazing individual. But I was asking one of his clients there, and what he said shocked me. I thought it was the workout was the hardest, but he was saying two things: getting enough sleep and eating were the two hardest things of being a bodybuilder. I just totally threw me off.
Yeah, I mean, especially bodybuilding, nutrition's huge, but I think that's the same for most of your everyday people. I have control over what they do in the gym. So if they show up, the workout is going to take care of itself. But once they leave, a little bit of the nutrition part is on them. A lot of it is on them. And so in the gym, right, I don't have donuts available. I don't have ice cream available. It's like, you're going to come, you're going to work out. There's no temptations. When you leave, there's temptations everywhere you look. Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Waffle House. That's just from the 2 miles I drove down this road. Those temptations are hard for people. If you're not prepared, you can only say no so many times throughout the day until you just give in and you have the donut.
What do you think of this concept of, if I've been on different diets, of one day a week you have a cheat day? What are your thoughts on things like that?
So everybody's different and what diet's going to work for them. And I don't like the diet term. I call it nutrition plan, but we got to find something that works for you. So just use myself, for example, down 15 pounds. I haven't excluded anything from my diet. So I eat now, granted 90% of the time I'm eating, lean meats, good carbs, vegetables, fruits, but there's times where I've had a bowl of cereal.
Shame on you.
Went for ice cream. But what I like to do is just control it, right? So
Can I make you some pasta? Oh,
yeah, well, I'll have pasta too, but it's all about controlling how much of it you're having. For me, excluding everything is not going to work. I'm going to give in after a few weeks, and now I'm not going to give in. I'm going to go from having a little bit of ice cream to the whole pint, right?
Binge.
So what I just like to do, and this works for a lot of people, whether it's, they want to drink alcohol or whatever their favorite food is we don't get rid of it. We just learn how to control how much we're having.
I think that is practical because we want to enjoy life, and I think if you compare ourselves to like the country of France, they're having wine and bread, and they live longer than we do for whatever reason. We're so aware of like, this is bad, this is good, but just being aware and building those, like you said, there's nothing you don't eat. You're still eating it, but you're not overindulging in it.
Yeah, I think, one of the best examples is we don't keep ice cream at the house, because if we do, I will eat it. But that doesn't mean we don't have ice cream. We just go out for ice cream. And when you go out, I went to this place when I first came down here, and it's easy for me to say one scoop when I go out because it's a one decision that I have to make.
Right.
And I said that, and she says, we don't sell one scoop. And I said, what do you mean? The smallest size we have is 2. And so I said to her, well, give me 1 scoop, I'll pay for 2. And that was it. But you see how 3 or 4 scoops of ice cream is not necessary. You can have 1 scoop. It's going to satisfy the craving, and it will fit into your overall plan, whatever that may be.
Got it. So that's I think a sound advice. Still enjoy yourself, but just reduce the amount of the food that maybe isn't the most healthy food for you.
I think my goal is to be realistic with people. And realistically, you are not going to cut out a food you like for the rest of your life. It's not going to happen. It's just not. And what happens with a lot of people is they do this really restrictive diet for a little bit, and then they get to the end and they go back to what they did before. And what happens? They just gain all the weight back because they don't have a long-term plan that they can sustain, right? And so we want to find something that no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how stressful work is, no matter how stressful family life is, you can sustain it through those toughest times, because that's when things fall off the rails and your health is put to the back burner.
All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about just the concept of coaching. A lot of people like to go it alone. They like to think they can do it all by themselves. And a lot of them can. But in your estimation, in your opinion, like, what are the advantages of having a coach versus trying to do it by yourself in terms of exercise? What would you say?
When you have a coach, you don't have to think about anything at the gym, right? Or nutritionally. You just listen to what they tell you to do. And what I can do is look at your situation without emotion and make the best decision for you. When you are making decisions for yourself, you're going to let emotion play into that decision. I have to just look at it as what is the best direction for you to take, whether that's workout or nutrition or sleep or whatever it may be. But that's what I think a coach's job should be, is look from the outside and be able to, without emotion, just make a decision and then hold you accountable to that decision, right? So let's take people that work out on their own. You totally can do it. And that's my goal, is to help people be able to do it on their own if they would like. But what happens? They do it for a little bit and then they miss a day. Does anybody reach out to them? I guess it's okay. They miss a second day. Anybody reaching out to them? Hey, where are you? Then now a week's gone by, they haven't worked out and they started eating poorly again. So that's the second part, is accountability. Is who is going to hold you accountable when things get tough, right? Because everybody can work out when everything feels good and they're motivated because they just started this journey, but the motivation will disappear, will come and go. The people who are successful long term, have discipline, and they can hold themselves to it or have someone hold themselves to it to get to their goals.
I got to ask you about phones. You mentioned a little bit earlier.
Oh, geez.
Do you allow phones in your gym?
No. Well, I mean, they bring them in. We have a place where they
Yeah.
put them, and obviously, if there's like an emergency, great, go take care of it. But when the class starts, that's it. There's no phones, and so this this is a whole nother topic, but people think you need to work out for hours a day. You do not. It can be done in an hour or less a day, but get off your phone and start moving and stop looking at the internet. Just focus on what you're doing, and you can get done in an hour or less.
I think, Greg, that was a great question, is focus on the workout. The other piece of that is that you talked about accountability. You talked about, how about the technique, having a coach there to make sure you're not injuring yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and so I work with people on improving technique, and there's a range of what technique should look like. Everybody has a different body type. We're gonna squat differently because you're 6 feet and I'm 5'6". Our squats are gonna look different. That being said, there's foundational pieces that we each need to maintain to do it. And so when I run a workout with someone, it doesn't matter how many times they've seen the movement. Granted, it may be less in depth, but I'm going through kind of how we do it. And I know for each person what areas they should focus on because I've seen them do it before.
So somebody wants to work out, they're listening to the show here, how would they get a hold of you?
So you can go to my website, GabrielStrengthTraining.com. You can reach out via phone, 774-708-0825. Email, ben@GabrielStrength.com. Those would be the best ways to contact me.
So they've reached out to you. What happens next?
So I would either answer their phone call or respond to them, and we'd set up a time for them to come in where we'll discuss kind of their full background, exercise history, medical history, make sure they're cleared for exercise. And if they are, they have the option of going through like a quick kind of intro workout with me, kind of get the feel, because I'm a big believer that feel is part of it. Like, are we a good match? We're going to be spending a lot of time together. And if we're not a good personality match, then maybe I'm not the right person for them. And then also if I'm even able to help them, depending on what's going on.
And where do they, if they choose to work with you, where would they work out?
So I do online training where they could work out with me from wherever they are. And I would make a workout based on what gym they're going to or what they have at home. Or if they're going to work with me in person, I train out of my garage. So I have a full gym. It's not a garage, it's a gym in my garage. So I have dumbbells, kettlebells, I have bands, I have a squat rack, I have barbell, weights, and then my pull-up bar. My favorite piece of equipment though might be the Echo bike or the rower. So got everything, and I build a workout for them.
Now the rower, I think that is one of the most intense workouts you can do as a rowing machine, my opinion. But
Yeah.
what would you say from just a all-encompassing one machine?
If I could do one machine, the Echo bike. It's kind of like a resistance bike. It uses the arms. And legs.
The arms and legs.
Yep.
Yeah.
The rower is great too, and I can't tell you, there is technique to the rower. So if you row, there's technique, and if you're more efficient, it won't be necessarily easier to just go farther in less time, if that makes sense. And that's what people don't realize is they get on. I see people go to the networking group. I see people on the rower, and they're doing it wrong, and they're not going to get hurt. It's a rower, but they're inefficient, and so they're making it more difficult than it has to be.
So that's where the technique comes in.
Yeah.
And the power of having a
Yeah.
coach.
And if you do it right, you're going to be way more powerful, more efficient. And so you're going to go faster with less effort. You're going to go further with less effort, which is going to improve your fitness.
in my past working with different coaches, I find that you're saving so much time. There's a cost to hiring a coach, but you're saving yourself so much time because they've kind of been through those things. They have other clients, they have the expertise. You're going to get results a lot quicker and without hurting yourself, and stay on track, I think, with a coach. I mean, why would somebody like Tiger Woods have a golf coach when he's already an expert world-class golfer?
It's the same reason,
you know, it helps.
It's the same reason I call the AC company when my AC shuts off. Could I look on YouTube and figure it out? Maybe. But I call them, they come, 10 minutes, they clean out the water line or whatever it's called. I'm gonna screw that one up and it works again. I don't have to worry about it. It's as simple as that. You know, it's more efficient, it's gonna be quicker to get to where you want to go.
So, Ben, if I could just summarize what I'm hearing from you is it's about the mindset, overcoming, you know, those little voices that tell us, hey, I don't feel like working out. It's the behaviors of coming in to the gym or taking a walk every day, having somebody to hold you accountable. If it's not a coach, it's a friend.
Yep.
It's also about nutrition and tracking what you eat every day and maybe getting enough sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I try to take look at everything. And ultimately, I think the biggest, if you take one thing away, it's find people that you get along with, that can hold you accountable and can make it a little bit more fun. And so it's much easier to go on a journey with a group of people than it is by yourself.
And then I think the other thing that I'm picking up from you is set the expectations and have little victories along the way, instead of just thinking, oh, I'm going to be, like you said, deadlift 400 pounds my first week.
Yeah. Realistic expectations are going to help you be successful. Unrealistic expectations will make you quit because you're not going to be even close to getting there. And so pick small wins along the way to help you be successful.
Greg, thank you so much for bringing Ben's voice to the air today and working with us.
Exciting. Yeah. All right. Have a good week.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Careology with Miles McGrath and Ben Gabriel of Gabriel Strength Training. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, WPSL.com, webcaster of the world. It's 11 o'clock.